Welcome back, everyone. This is Jacqueline Jacks from Daylight and Daisies. I want to know if I can save this dying variegated camouflage Macrorrhiza elephant ear alocasia. That is a mouthful, but there are so many names for this plant. And at the end of the day, I just thought the variegation on this was show-stopping. In my little travels, I found this plant and it was looking so sad. And I was like, you know what? For $10, I have to get this plant because it is beautiful and it's trying so hard to stay alive that I think I can help it. I actually saw a video about mixing moss and LECA and semi-hydro with the alocasias on a Sydney plant guy video, and I will link that video below for you. And it was really interesting what he was talking about. So I thought I would give this a try because his video actually made me think I might be able to save this plant. So what I'm going to need for this is I'm going to need a glass, some kind of glass container. I'm going to need LECA, which are clay balls. I'm going to need some nutrients, some purified water or distilled water, and some sphagnum moss. And that should do it, but I'm also going to give it a little bath too because just in case there are any pests, and usually whenever I get a plant from a greenhouse, there are pests. So especially with what's going on with this, I have sprayed this already. And I did try to rehab the plant a little bit and let it settle in. It did put out this beautiful new leaf for me, so I kind of let it just kind of hang out with a little more humidity and some nutrients, but it started to crust over again. So I said, you know what? Let's go ahead, remove all of this soil, and let's try that secret recipe. So here's what I know. I know that brown edges means underwatering, or inconsistent watering, or poor humidity, damaged roots, a root system that no longer functions efficiently, all that. So we're going to look at the roots, and we're going to also consider the inconsistent watering because I've had it here and I've been watering it consistently. So the fact that it's starting to brown edges again, I think it's just not getting enough humidity, and who knows, maybe the roots could be damaged. We need to get in there and see what is going on with it. But looking at these roots, the roots look strong, they look healthy, they're bright white. I don't see any problem with the roots. I also didn't see any pests when I was spraying it down. So the first time I sprayed it down, I didn't notice anything like that. But I'm going to spray it again today, just in case. But instead of traditional potting soil, I really think these alocasias need to be more moist. So I think he's got something when he says combine the sphagnum moss with LECA in a semi-hydro setup with a wick. So this way, when you water it, the sphagnum moss holds on to moisture, but you pot it with the sphagnum moss being dry so that it has more air and it's not compressed. Don't push it in there too much. Just fill it enough to support the plant, or put a support in there as well, which I actually do later on. I'm going to do my best to remove all of the previous potting medium. It's kind of like, I don't know, it feels a little bit like soil, but it's more fluffy. So I'm pretty sure this is like that nursery, like peat moss that they usually have the plants in. And I think that does work out well for the greenhouses, but obviously since it didn't work out well for this guy at the greenhouse, he probably just wasn't getting enough moisture. Now, what I did learn from other videos here on YouTube is that the alocasias for sure could use consistent moisture. They don't really like to dry out, but again, they can't be wet because their roots will rot. So it's really important we find that happy medium and then keep that consistent. Right now I'm taking this soap, and it has a little bit of alcohol in it. It's really good. I just spray all the leaves. I spray the petioles. I spray everything, even the roots. And then I'm going to take it into the shower and I'm going to rinse it down really, really well and try to power wash off some of the rest of the peat moss off the soil or off the roots. Hopefully we'll get it nice and clean. It will get a fresh start, and this isn't really a chemical that will harm the leaves. I've actually left it on the plants before that I was treating. I think the big thing is just not to put it in sunlight when you spray anything on the leaves. You want to rinse that off and dry it before you actually put grow lights really, really close. So let's go rinse this off and we'll be right back. Okay, look at these gorgeous roots. There is not one thing wrong with these roots, so it is such a shame to see this poor plant trying to put out such gorgeous leaves, but then have them dry up. So I'm thinking it's either got to be pests or they're letting the plant dry out too much, which it's drying out too much. But the fact that it was crusting over again in my care, even though it was doing it slowly, I think the potting medium might just be maybe hydrophobic, something that isn't allowing the moisture to stay around the roots. But these roots are great. So let's go ahead and wash out some LECA, put it into the bottom, and try this semi-hydro setup with a wick and some sphagnum moss to keep a light, fluffy kind of combination of moisture around the roots. But I have to say, I love this plant so much and I love the way the roots look. So I'm going to be watching this poor plant like a hawk and trying to keep an eye on what's going on, because I don't want the roots to die and then it have to grow water roots. I think that is so unnecessary. There's got to be a happy medium here. So I do want to test this out, but I hate to ruin a beautiful plant like this. So let's proceed with caution. So I've worked with glass containers before with my orchids, which has really worked out, and a lot of other plants as well. They don't need drainage as long as you have enough LECA in the bottom to hold the water like a reservoir. So in essence, it works exactly like a self-watering pot as long as you have a wick. If you don't have a wick, then when the water level starts to dry out, you'll get a little humidity, but not really enough. At times, over time, the roots will reach down and try and grab the water, but usually something happens and the poor plant dries out first before it has time to grow those roots down. So it's much better to really watch the level and make sure, just like a self-watering pot, that you have enough water in there. Now with a wick, it makes it so much easier. The guesswork is out because the plant can draw up as much water as it wants from the wick. It kind of keeps things a little bit more moist, and if the plant doesn't want to be next to the moisture, it can kind of like project away a little bit, but you still want to watch and make sure, because we are dealing with sphagnum moss, and that is something that can be dreadfully bad, but it can also be really, really good. So let's hope it's really, really good. I also love to put root crack on the roots when I am first repotting. This I just get on Amazon. I can add a link below for it. I'm not sure if it's for sale in Amazon.com or just here in Canada, but I'm pretty sure that these little potting boost nutrients are available in so many places. The big thing is let's just get the roots in, let them sit kind of higher up because I want the roots to find their own way. I don't want them to be really, really low, but I want it to be stable. So we've got to use a little bit of LECA with that sphagnum moss to stabilize the plant. It is such a healthy root system though. I'm so lucky here because those roots are just, they're tough, and look at this variegation on this plant. I mean, God, the stems are just gorgeous, right? It's like that you can see how clear the genetics are on this plant. So I'm really happy that I did it, and I can't wait to figure it out, and hopefully we'll get it growing first time around. But again, watching it super closely, because if anything goes wrong, I want to save it right away. And I just want to give this a try first, and then we'll go back to a wick with like a chunky potting mix like we have for the Monstera. But boy, this would be great for the Alocasia if it worked. For the nutrients, I'm using the Boost by Crystal Star Nursery. I've been experimenting with this over the last few months, and it's got my Hoyas growing like at record speed. I also noticed that my Monsteras are loving it. The Alocasias just got started on it, so it is going in there, but I'm diluting it to half of the recommended strength. so that I can kind of proceed with caution on all of the semi-hydro stuff that I have. So everything in a self-watering pot is getting half of the nutrients, and it's getting it every single time. So this one has a little ball at the bottom, which I love because I can kind of monitor what I do to fill it. You can see I've kind of like got the roots in places where I can see them really well, and I have them above, plenty above. If they want to reach down there, they're welcome to work their way down to the bottom, but the LECA is on the bottom. The water's only going to go so high. The sphagnum moss is going to be giving some really beautiful nutrients to the roots through the wick, and also by pulling it up naturally and slowly. The rest is like a prayer. We're going to just watch it. Now let's see if we can just kind of tuck all this in. I'm going to tuck a little bit here and there just to stabilize my plant, and then we will clean up the leaves a little bit so we don't have to look at all of this horrible dead foliage. It is such a shame. I mean, it's tragic. I hate seeing a plant like this. So when I was doing some research online for this alocasia, some of the care requirements were that it likes bright and direct light, which we already know, but I thought you might want to know. You want to avoid the midday sun, which I always do with all of my plants. They can scorch, especially the white parts of the leaves. Too little light will cause the variegation to fade. So I always use Barina lights, so I use T5s or T8, depending on the plant and the setup that I have. I'm not going to put this one in my Millsbow cabinet because even though alocasias love 60% or more humidity, I'm potting this one up in a semi-hydro. So I'm going to put a humidifier next to it instead of putting it in a cabinet and just killing it with humidity. I feel like when they're big like this, it's just too much. We've got to find a way to boost the moisture in the air and make the room itself feel good and not be drafty. So pebble-filled trays with water, or just a humidifier basically. And you want to keep the environment warm. So when it's warm though, it's 18 to 30 Celsius or 65 to 90 Fahrenheit. Of course, we're not living in 90 Fahrenheit. Well, maybe you are, but I'm not. I'm living in about 72 to 75 degree Fahrenheit in the rooms. But it's not going to be in draft. So anywhere there's an air vent, that's not where the plant should be. You can also redirect the air up to the ceiling, but just make sure that you don't have sudden temperature drops and that you are providing enough humidity. I think that really is a way to kind of give you some padding. I noticed that lots of my tropicals, as long as they're in a humid environment, it like gains me time if I don't get the watering perfect. And I think this plant can manage that if it just kind of adjusts. I also noticed that the plant needs well-draining, chunky aeroid mix, of course, but that could be perlite, orchid bark. The peat depends on your watering schedule. So this one was in peat, but it was drying out too much. It did fine, like the roots were okay, but it wasn't maintaining the leaves of the plant. So what you want to do is make sure that your environment, whether you're humid or not humid, has to do with the mix. So you wouldn't put a lot of peat if you had a lot of humidity. If you don't have a lot of humidity, you might try semi-hydro like I'm doing, something to keep it moist, but keep the air circulating. As far as fertilizers, again, I'm going for Boost by Crystal Star Nursery because I really like it. And that has been a great all-in-one fertilizer for me right now. I don't know if down the road I'm going to have other things or change up. I do try different things from time to time, but I do like that one for the tropicals. And I am going to cut off some of this, dead stuff because it's just not really serving the plant. I don't want it feeling like it has to put its energy towards leaves that are struggling. I'm not going to cut off the good parts though. Anything that is still good can still take in sunlight, and that is what the plant needs. So we don't want to throw it into culture shock. If it's going to drop any leaves from the repot, let's let it be, a diva if it wants to, and then let's let it recover. But overall, I really think this is the way to go with the alocasias. I think he's got something and I'm dying to find out. So if you want to follow this plant along with me, then for sure follow the channel and check out my other Pot With Me videos, because I am rehabbing a lot of stuff and trying out everything from my pink, beautiful variegated Alocasia to Monstera to Hoyas. I have all kinds of plants indoor and outdoor, and this is a channel that is dedicated to my mom, who loves plants and unfortunately is too ill to be able to have her garden. So I'm doing it for her, and she's watching every video. I love you guys, and I hope that if you're trying to rescue a plant, you'll let me know what you're rescuing, and if you're going to give this setup a little try, or if you're going to follow the videos. Please don't forget to subscribe. I'm also on Instagram at Daylight and Daisies.